It's the Tim Constantine Show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, it's Tim Constantine with you. You ever have a friend, an uncle, an aunt, a brother, a sister, a parent, someone you know, someone you're close with who may drink too much? Do you know what I'm talking about? You know, that they may be functional. They may go to work every day. They may be but at night or on weekends or maybe both. They knock them down. They get drunk. They're non-functional. They're not available to the family. You know what I'm talking about. They may not even be abusive. What if you have a sister, a brother, a husband, somebody who drinks too much, and they're still nice, but it is impacting them? What's the one phrase you usually hear from? If you try to talk common sense to them, I do not have a drinking problem. That's the phrase you'll hear. I do not have a drinking problem. Look, I go to work every day. I provide for this family. And so the denial, the blanket denial you will hear, despite the fact you're looking at it objectively, despite the fact you are trying to just get a simple message across to someone you love, despite the fact you're trying to save someone by saying, honey, I think you might have a problem here. That universal phrase you hear back, I do not have a drinking problem. Well, guess what? A couple of folks up in Washington have been talking about Washington's problems. Mitch McConnell, Senator Mitch McConnell, is the minority leader in the United States Senate. He's said point blank, look, we don't have a shortfall of money here. We have a spending problem. We don't have a problem with too few taxes. We have a spending problem. He's been very clear about it. Now, he's not the only one that said it, but he may be the most prominent. There are a number of people in Washington who have spoken up and said, we have a spending problem. Our president, Barack Obama, who has spent over $1 trillion more than he's taken in every single year of his presidency. And let me just put this in perspective. The numbers get so big, sometimes it's hard to follow because we talk in trillions now. There's so many zeros on there, it's very hard for the average bear to follow what trillions are. Yeah, okay, it's a lot of money, whatever. You get my concept there. So each year, the country takes in about $2 trillion, roughly $2 trillion. Each year now, the country is spending about $3.4 trillion. That's a pretty big differential. That's a really big differential. For example, let's say you make a great living. Let's say you live a good life, you work hard, you make a couple $100,000 a year. Oh, life is good. Except you start spending $340,000 a year. You make $200,000, you spend $340,000. Let's even break it down simpler than that. Let's say you have a simple job. You go to work every day. You make a minimum wage. You work part-time. You make $200 a week. But you spend $340 every week. You know how I would describe that? I would describe that as a spending problem. Mitch McConnell is right. Unless, of course, you are President Barack Obama, who came out yesterday and said, point blank, we do not have a spending problem. I take you back to the beginning of this segment where you talk to Uncle Harry, you talk to your husband, your wife, your cousin, your brother, whoever it is that drinks too much. You see them drunk every day. You see them drunk every weekend. You see how it impacts them. You see it dampen their creativity. You see it dampen their self-confidence. And yet when you confront them with it, they simply say, I do not have a drinking problem. If they ignore it, they don't have to deal with it. Well, that's what our president is doing. I do not have a spending problem. America does not have a spending problem. Right after he utters the words, we do not have a spending problem, President Barack Obama says, you know, what we need is more taxes. He just got his new tax increase days ago, but he wants more.
It's the Tim Constantine Show.